Welcome back to part 4 of the All Tracks Guide, where we explain all the F1 tracks of the 2025 season. In the last part, we went through tracks 13 to 18, that is Belgium, Hungary, Netherlands, Italy, Azerbaijan, and Singapore. Now, we move on to the next track on the list. Round 19, Austin, Texas. COTA is a masterpiece of modern design. We start with the most iconic sight in F1, the steep blind climb into Turn 1. Sim tip: use the crest to your advantage. Wait until the car crests the hill before turning in. If you brake too early, you're a sitting duck for a dive bomb. If you brake too late, you're off track. Now we enter the Essies. This is a direct tribute to Silverstone's Maggots and Becketts. Sim tip: you need a car that changes direction instantly. It's all about rhythm. If you miss the entry to Turn 3, you'll be fighting an understeering car all the way through the complex. Keep the car settled and prioritize the exit. Navigating the tight hairpin at Turn 11 and the long, sweeping back straight. Then we hit the technical mess of Turns 12 through 15. Fun fact: the track's signature 251-foot observation tower provides a panoramic view of the entire facility, which is rare for a road course. History check. COTA is famous for the rodeo atmosphere and some incredible battles, especially through the multi-apex right-hander at Turn 16, 17, 18. Sim tip: these turns are designed to kill your front tyres. Be patient, don't push the nose in until the car is stable. Fun fact: the grandstand capacity of the track is among the largest in the world, often hosting over 400,000 fans across the race weekend. Through the final blind left-hander and onto the home straight, across the line, 19 down. Round 20, Mexico City. We're racing at 2,200 meters of altitude. The air is so thin here that even with maximum downforce wings, the car has the aerodynamic grip of Monza. Sim tip: braking into Turn 1 is incredibly tricky because you have much less air to cool your brakes and provide downforce. You'll find yourself locking up constantly if you don't adjust your braking markers. Fun fact: the circuit is named after the legendary Mexican racing brothers Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez. Coming out of the tight Turn 3, we enter a series of technical, low-speed left-right flicks. History check. This section is where the legendary 1968 and 1970 races were decided. Sim tip: it's all about car rotation. Because the air is thin, the car feels lazy on turn-in. You have to be patient and wait for the nose to grip before you get back on the power. Now the high-speed S's, Turn 7 through 11. Sim tip: this sequence is a rhythmic left-right flick that tests your suspension. If the car is too stiff, you'll be skipping over the surface. If it's too soft, the car will wallow and cost you precious milliseconds. Entering the Foro Sol Stadium. History check. This is the most electric atmosphere on the calendar. Passing through the grandstands, you can hear the crowd over your engine. Sim tip: the final corners here are tight. Rotate the car quickly to get it pointed toward the straight. DRS open. Across the line. 20 down. Round 21, Interlagos. This is one of the shortest laps of the year, but it's an absolute masterpiece. We start by plunging downhill into the Senna S, Turns 1 and 2. Sim tip: this is a classic overtake or be overtaken spot. You need to compromise your line through Turn 1 to get a perfect exit out of Turn 2, or you'll be a sitting duck for the run-up to the Curva do Sol. After clearing the Senna S, we move towards Turns 4, 5 and 6. Sim tip: this is a relentless sequence of medium-speed corners. The car needs to be perfectly balanced. If you have too much front grip, you'll snap oversteer in Turn 6. If you have too much rear, you'll push wide and miss the apex. We're flowing into Turn 7, Ferradura, and then the high-speed Turn 8, La Reina. History check. This section is modelled after the old pre-1990 configuration, which was much longer and even more dangerous. Sim tip: this is a driver's section. It's all about throttle modulation. You aren't just mashing the pedal, you're breathing the throttle to keep the car tucked on the white line. We arrive at Turn 12, the Juncao. This is the most important corner on the track. Sim tip: It's a long uphill climb out of the corner. You need to get the car rotated early so you can get on the power before you hit the steepest part of the hill. Flat out through the final curve and onto the main straight. Round 22, Las Vegas. The strip is our playground. We're hitting 340 kilometers per h under the neon lights, and the track is ice cold. Sim tip: because the surface is so cold, tire warm-up is almost impossible. You'll be sliding around for the first 2 laps, so be incredibly patient. Don't force the car to turn until you feel the rubber start to bite into the tarmac. We head down the Koval lane straight and sweep past the massive sphere. It's a visual overload. Use this time to check your ERS deployment and adjust your brake bias forward. This brings us into the technical infield, turns 6 through 9. Sim tip: don't be afraid to use the width of the track here. The curbs are flat and designed to be attacked, so open up your steering angle to carry as much mid-corner speed as possible. History check. F1's return to Vegas in 2023 was a landmark event, turning the world's most famous boulevard into a high-speed racetrack. Now we hit the turn 12 hairpin. Sim tip: this is a pure stop and rotate corner. You have to slam the anchors, get the car pivoted, and get back on the power early. Why? Because the exit leads into the flat-out blast down the strip. If you miss the apex by even a few centimeters, you'll lose your slipstream and be a sitting duck for the cars behind you. Blasting down the back straight toward the final sequence. Sim tip: watch your brake temperature. Because of the massive straights, the discs cool down too much. If you arrive at the final corner with cold brakes, you'll have a dead pedal and sail straight into the runoff. Keep the pads warm by dragging them slightly on the straight. Across the line. Round 23, Qatar. Lucé is a relentless high-speed flow. We're dealing with massive lateral G-forces here. Simtech: because you're sustaining such high loads for so long, your tyre pressures will spike rapidly. If you're pushing too hard, you'll see your pressures balloon and your grip will fall off the cliff. Sim tip: focus on mid-corner speed. You rarely touch the brakes. You're just balancing the throttle to keep the car settled on its edge. We fly through the flat-out kink of turn 3 and head into the technical heart of the circuit, turns 4 and 5. These two act almost like a single double apex corner. History check. Max Verstappen clinched his 2023 title here, proving that this track is all about precision over power. Sim tip: don't let the car run too wide on the exit of turn 5. You need to immediately get the car back to the right to open up the entry for the heavy braking zone into turn 6. That transition is the most crucial part of the first sector. Get it wrong and you'll struggle with understeer for the next 3 corners. Now we head to the famous turns 12, 13 and 14 complex. This is a massive triple apex right-hander that is an absolute tyre killer. Sim tip: aim for a late apex on the final part of this complex. It feels counterintuitive, but sacrificing a tiny bit of entry speed here saves your tyre carcass and gives you a massive advantage in traction onto the final straight. Powering out through the final left-hander, turn 16 and onto the main straight. Across the line, 23 down. Round 24, Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi. The season finale. We start the lap on the main straight, heading into the heavy braking zone for turn 1. Sim tip: don't just focus on the turn 1 apex. You need to look ahead to the entry of turn 2. If you carry too much speed into turn 1, you'll be forced wide, which ruins your line for the flat-out run toward the hairpin. Keep your entry tight and focus entirely on a clean, early rotation for the exit. Hard on the brakes for the turn 5 hairpin. Sim tip: this is a classic overtake or be overtaken zone. Because of the long straight, you want to focus on a late apex here, sacrificing your entry speed to get the car rotated early. Now we head into the tricky turn 6, 7 and 8 sequence. Sim tip: this is a tight medium speed chicane that requires perfect rhythm. Do not rush the entry. You have to be patient on the throttle through turn 7, so you're perfectly positioned for a sharp turn in at turn 8. If you're offline at turn 7, you'll be fighting understeer all the way through the turn 9 banked sweeper. Now we hit the turn 9 banked sweeper. Sim tip: this is a high G corner. Trust the banking to hold you in and let the car naturally drift to the outside exit curb. This carries you straight into the technical W Hotel complex, turns 12 through 15. Sim tip, this section is all about weight transfer. Avoid aggressive steering stabs. Use smooth rhythmic inputs to keep the car settled. If you get too greedy with the throttle here, the rear will step out and you'll lose your momentum for the final push. We arrive at the final corner, turn 16, treat it like 2 corners in one. One final push, and we cross the finish line. And that brings us to the checkered flag. If you found these technical breakdowns useful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content like this.